Hi guys, I just wanted to do a quick video today. That's what I say literally in every intro now. Um, and um, Basically, this is something that I've been learning about the last couple of months, I guess, and that is that there's the law of the land. So there's the sort of method of living that we've all been taught, which is you do this and you get that, you do this and you get that, you work for this organization or whatever it is, and your income is what they tell you your income is, and that's all there is to it. And it's very 3D, and it doesn't really take into account any kind of spiritual energy or anything like that. And um, it's really separate from your soul's purpose. And if you are a spiritual person, it's really separate from that, because it's almost like it's a different thing. And the truth is, it is a different thing. It's separate from it. And so how do you align your spirituality with this linear mode that we've been trained to be in. We've been trained to be in this linear mode. Like, you go to school, you do this, you do that. Like, there's a course of action, and you follow it, and then you get a result from it. And oftentimes, like, when you're asking for a miracle, or you're asking for something different to happen in your life, and you can get very confused as to why, it seems to work for other people, but it doesn't seem to work for you. And if people talk about like soul alignment and stuff like that, it can seem like quite foreign, and just not something that works with your day to day. And that is because there's a separate law for that. It's the law of God, or the God of your understanding, whatever you're comfortable with, like the universal law. Or I know a lot of people talk about law of attraction, which is look into that if you're not familiar with it. But the the gist of it is that you whatever you are, you attract. So if you have an impoverishment mentality, which is like you're always counting your pennies, or you're always worried about bills coming in, like you don't say to yourself, oh, this is wonderful, I have electricity. Rather than that, you say, oh fuck, another fucking bill. That's an impoverishment mentality. It's sort of like money in, money out, money in, money out. And it's not really in alignment with your soul's essence, because it's part of that programming, that linear programming that we're given. That's why it doesn't feel right with it never sits right with anyone, that way of thinking. And many times people often think like, oh, if I had more money, then I'd have fewer problems. But that's also not true, because like if you have more money, more money, more problems. Like you have to upscale your lifestyle to match your new set of finances. And you can still carry that mentality with you into this life that should be different, because it's got a completely different set of finances, and everything's different about it. But it's not different if your mentality is the same, if it's still in that linear mode where if I do this, then I get this, if I do that, then I get this. My employer says that this is my salary, then that's the only income I get. Like, that doesn't allow any space for miracles, because if that's what you believe, then that's what you get. And so basically that's like law of attraction. But law of attraction is really reductive, and it really takes away the spirituality of things. And so for things to truly come into your life and to stay there, for you to really feel blessed, you have to know that you are inherently blessed. You are a blessed individual. Every person on this earth is a child of God, and you're inherently blessed. You're inherently, through your birthright, provided for and taken care of. And I know that might sound like ridiculous, like in the linear mode of thinking, it sounds ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about, Latifa? Like, that's fucking bullshit. If I don't do this, then I don't get this. Yeah, fair enough. There is an element of that to it, but at the same time, like, if you're more in alignment with your soul, you allow for things to just come naturally into your life. So you really allow for the right set of circumstances to come into your life. And what I mean by that is, let's say if we're talking about your place of employment, let's say if you do contract work, or if you're in a large organization and you can move around. It's not just like the one office or whatever it is. And even this applies even if you are in the one office, but it's sort of easier to understand if you apply it to a larger organization because it makes more sense mentally. Even though that's not how things happen when you're spiritual, they don't come through your mental linear thinking. You might be presented with something today that sounds like it meets what you need, meets your requirements, pretty much meets your requirements. And so you might feel like, well, if I don't take this, then, I'm going to miss out, or someone else will get it, and then there won't be another opportunity for me again because this is the only one that's available. That's linear 3D thinking, but, if you're aligned to your soul, you'll know what's right for you, not based on fears or worries or doubts. You'll know what's right for you because it's God-given. You'll go, you know what, this doesn't really feel right, so I'm probably going to reject it today, and I trust and I know that the right thing will come along for me. And it may even come along tomorrow after you made that decision, or it may come along in a month's time, it may come along in 2 months' time, may come along next year. But the point is that it will come along. You have to have faith. You have to know that I am always taken care of. My basic needs are always met. Is that not true? I think it is. Unless you really are down in the fucking dumps, your basic needs are always taken care of. It's sort of your needs are met, but let's say your desires are not always met. And, it's very important to separate those two things and not to conflate them. Because, if you have impoverishment mentality, it really doesn't matter what your income is, you'll always think this is not enough. But it is enough. It's always enough. And another thing I wanted to add is that sometimes, we may feel taken advantage of by the workplace or other people or just general circumstances, just general things cropping up in your life, and you might think to yourself, well, why am I constantly being asked to do this? Or, I have not even received a thank you or whatever. And the truth of the matter is that service is not for other people or for your employer or for, someone in your family or whatever. Service is for God. That's what it's for. That's the law of spirituality. If you are in service of God, then you know that you will be provided for, and it'll come to you in ways that maybe you think you wanted something in particular and you don't get that thing, so then you believe that, you're unlucky, but you'll get something else, and if you really look at it, that was actually the right thing for you to get, and the thing that you actually wanted was probably not the right thing for you to get. And when you're in service of a higher power, or of your inner self, or your soul's calling, or things other than your job, or obviously you have to do your job, but what I mean is looking for praise or looking for appreciation or validation, or if you're only doing something because you think it'll benefit you bonus wise or whatever, that's not really soul aligned. And of course you can do really well that way, but I'm sort of talking about being aligned spiritually. And if that's important to you and it's important for you to feel that way, then you only need to know one thing. You only need to know that service is for God. And so if you are doing the right thing and you know you're doing the right thing, that's all you need to worry about. You don't need to worry about the outcome, and you don't need to worry about any validation, because validation doesn't come from other people, it comes from within. So if you're following, your soul's mission, then you're doing all right. You can validate yourself, you're doing the right thing, and you'll never be asked to do too much. It's only when you fall into the trap of pleasing other people, or thinking that if I don't do this, then I'm going to really be fucked. You may be a little bit fucked, but I don't think you'll be really fucked. And not only that, but if you're looking for appreciation or validation from others when you work your ass off, in any endeavor, whether it's at work or in relationships or just in general, the way you are in life, your energetic exchange is such that your output is more than what you receive, it's more than your input, then it'll never stop. Like there will never come a point where you'll just receive where a stop sign will come to you, and and a big amount of validation will come to you that'll say to you, this is enough, you've done enough, because that'll never happen, because your energy is out of balance, you're doing too much. There has to be a balance, and the balance within my statement that, you know, service is for God, is that when you do things from that perspective, you just naturally know when enough is enough. You naturally know that, listen, I've done enough hours today, so I'm done. Or you know that I don't need to overdo it, because I don't have to fear and worry and think the worst and prepare for the worst. I don't have to do those things, because I'm taken care of. I know that I have faith. I know that everything works out eventually. It may not work out exactly as I wanted it to, but it does work out, and my basic needs are met. And the things that I desire are coming to me, they're on their way. When you know that, you never overgive, and you never overdo, and you never feel underappreciated or taken advantage of, because you know why you did the thing. And I have a very small example on this. Last week we were in lockdown, like literal lockdown. You couldn't even leave the house to take the trash out. And a neighbor of mine was already on holiday, and they had a pet. And the other neighbor that was tasked, I wonder if they can hear me, other neighbor that was tasked with looking after this pet, decided to go away for the length of time of the lockdown. And you know, so they asked me to look after the pet since I was going to be here. And I was kind of annoyed about this, but I did it anyway. And the thing is, like, when I agreed to do this, that same day I was going to the supermarket or something like that, and on the way back, I saw that there were painters coming out of the flat that the pet lived in. And so I said to them, where's the key? Because I knew like where the key was, and I didn't, you know, I wanted to make sure that they were putting the key back in place. And the guy had it in his pocket, and he was going to give it to, you know, his supervisor. And had I not been there at that right time, had it not been divinely guided, that pet would have been stuck in there for like 5 days with nobody be able to go in, because there was no key, there was no access. And so, you know, I knew that that was something that I was supposed to do and something that I had to do, but not like out of obligation or not for any reason other than the fact that it was in service. And so I did that. And then, whatever it was, 6-7 days later, whatever it was, the person comes back, and I saw them in the hallway, and all I got was a, hey. No thank you, nothing like that. But that's okay, because you don't need praise from other people. You don't need other people to validate what you've done. Service is for God, it's not for them. And so, like, you know, this is where like feelings of discontent can come from. You can feel like, this person does not appreciate what I did. Look what I did, and they never said thank you to me or whatever. Or look how hard I work and I never get any like thanks or whatever. And, you know, the truth of the matter is, like, your feelings may be valid, like it's all right to feel that way, but it isn't all right to be entitled to what you think you should get, because actually you shouldn't get anything from another person. You know, we're trained to think that life is transactional, but it's not transactional. It's only transactional on like the outermost sphere of consciousness. So if consciousness is a spiral, and you go slowly inwards towards the center of your soul, of your being, transactionality is on the outermost sphere. Transactionality meaning, if I do this for you, then you do this for me. Like, that is on the outermost sphere of consciousness. And in that sphere, that's where you get manipulation, that's where you get lying, cheating, that's where you get withholding behavior, that's where you get extremely negative thought patterns that are simply based on transactionism. transactions, like that's what they're based on. That's where those thought patterns come from, like fear and doubt and worry. They come from transactions. They come from, oh, if I don't do this, then I don't get this. But that's not who we are at a soul level. We are spiritual beings in a meat suit, and that's the way it is. It's not the other way around. We're not meat suits who are sometimes spiritual beings. So it's very important to return to center and to know who you are, and to be okay with the service that you do and the service that you provide. If you're not okay with it, then change your life, change things about your life. But to like constantly be downtrodden and to, you know, feel all these negative emotions based on the things that you do, like, listen, nobody's held a gun to your head and made you do shit, you know? You've chosen to do these things, so if you don't want to do them anymore, don't do them. But if you do want to do them with an open heart, with a kind spirit, and with a sense of righteousness within yourself, that you know that you've done the right thing, and trust that it will come back to you. So this isn't transactional, but it's just more like, it's the law of spirit, that you know that I'm on the right path. I know what I'm doing, and I know that the right thing is coming to me. Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, I don't know when. And but know that you're blessed in every day, and look for the little miracles and the little blessings in your life that you receive every day, and be thankful for them and be happy about that, rather than being upset about something that someone says or doesn't say to you, or, you know, things going your way or not going your way. Because, you know, there's another phrase that that I've been working on, and that is thy will over my will. And that's really important, to be able to just let go of what you think you need or want, or how things should be, you know. Let go of micromanaging the events of your life, let go of micromanaging outcomes and how you expect things to be. Because if you expect things to be one way, like, they will never, ever, ever turn out that way, and you will always be disappointed. And that's not a way to live. We're not here to be disappointed and upset all the time, you know. And you can change that. Like, you can literally change your thoughts. You can change the way you process information. You can change the way you assess situations. You can look at them from completely different angles and find a way to be okay with things. Like, you can find a way to accept the things that you can't change, but know when you can change things, and find the courage to be able to do that, the serenity prayer. And you know, all of these prayers, they all talk about the same thing. You're always blessed. You always have the opportunity to be on a blessed path if you change your mindset and you look at it from a different perspective, and you find ways to feel good about the right things, you know, rather than just ignoring them altogether and just, you know, repeating cycles in your mind and in your behaviors, and interacting with negative events in your life. Like, what I mean by that is, if a negative event occurs, you're allowed to feel what you're feeling. You're right in feeling what you feel. Your feelings are valid, but you don't have to interact with those events. It's sort of like, you know, if someone says something rude to you, you don't actually have to interact with that. Like, you don't have to be tit for tat. You don't have to have a comeback. Like, it doesn't matter, you know? Like, of course you shouldn't allow constant rudeness in your life, or you know, constant mistreatment in your life, and you should be able to, like, observe a pattern, to be able to observe if there's a pattern of behavior that doesn't serve you, and find a way to eliminate that from your life. But at the same time, you don't have to be reactive. You don't have to, you know, get into the same energy field that has been sent your way, because that doesn't serve you. And that, like, energy field that's been sent your way isn't your own energy. It's not. It doesn't come from your soul. So why interact with it? It's senseless. And that's the message I wanted to deliver today. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to talk about along the same lines. Let me press pause. Yeah, now I remembered. We're in the Lionsgate portal. Look that up. And so this is a time that, like, look at it, the astrology of the Lionsgate. So, you know, if you're into that, this is a time when you can just make a wish, and whatever you want will come to you. And whatever you don't want, send it away. Whatever you don't want energetically, send it away. Whatever we don't want health-wise, send it away. We don't want that here anymore. Send it away. Whatever we don't want energetically, send it away. Bye. See ya. Adios.